Shocking scene at 3 a.m., millionaire frozen in disbelief as ex-wife serves tables, pregnant. The night air was thick with tension as cars raced by, their headlights cutting through the dark like knives. At a diner that should have been closed, a shocking scene unfolded. A faded neon sign buzzed furiously, illuminating the chaos within. Across the greasy vinyl booths, the once mighty Oliver Crane stood rooted to the spot, his jaw slack and eyes wide, locked onto a figure he had never expected to see again. Claire, his ex-wife, was back. But this time, it wasn't for reconciliation, it was to serve coffee, her baby bump barely concealed under a too small apron. As she laughed with the regulars, hypnotized, Oliver felt a tightness in his chest. How could she be here? The woman he thought had vanished into the high society ether was now pouring coffee and laughing with strangers at a rundown diner in the dead of night. Her hair, once perfectly styled, fell in messy waves around her shoulders. The sight was disorienting. This wasn't the Claire he remembered. This was an entirely different person. As murmurs echoed around him, the other patrons were as shocked as he was. Whispers draped over the laughter like a veil. "Is that Claire?" someone gasped. Another voice chimed in, "Didn't she marry that tech billionaire?" His heart raced. Why wasn't anyone confronting her? Did they all just accept this? The constant chime of the bell above the entrance startled him out of his trance. The tension pulsed in the air, a tangible force that seemed to radiate from Claire herself. She turned, her gaze locking onto Oliver's for a fleeting moment, and in that instant, 1,000 memories collided. Love, betrayal, anger, everything they had built crumbled like ancient ruins. The ache in his chest grew heavier. What was she doing here? Why was she pregnant? Questions buzzed like hornets in his mind. Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Oliver's thoughts spiraled as Claire laughed, serving pancakes to a group of rowdy truckers. He felt himself torn, witnessing the woman who once moved in the most elite circles now reduced to this. And yet, there was a flicker of something in her eyes, something unsettlingly familiar. Was it regret? Or was it defiance? He could hardly breathe, the lump in his throat stiffening with every heartbeat. Curiosity clawed at him. The diner door swung open again, and in walked the shadowy figure of the tech billionaire Claire's new husband. The sudden jolt of realization hit Oliver like a punch to the gut. What was he doing here? Did he know about Claire's new life? Oliver held his breath. The pieces of this twisted puzzle were barely coming together. An uneasy silence fell over the room as eyes darted between the three of them, each person calculating the next move. What would happen now? What secrets lay buried beneath this thin layer of laughter and pancakes? The air crackled with anticipation, leaving Oliver teetering on the brink of revelation as he wrestled with his flooding emotions. He couldn't walk away. Not now. The truth was about to break free, and he had to find out what it was. Who were they really? What game were they all playing? The air crackled as everyone hovered on the edge of a collective breath. Oliver's gaze locked onto the figure of Claire, who was oblivious to the storm brewing around her. Minutes stretched into eons, time felt like a cruel joke, mocking his every desperate heartbeat. The tech billionaire Evan Haynes strolled confidently to the counter, flashing a grin that seemed perfect but felt hollow. Oliver hated how familiar it all felt, like a ghost of the past. As Evan took a seat, the diner seemed to hold its breath. Claire, still pouring coffee and chatting, shot a glance his way, a quick flicker of concern crossing her face before she returned to her routine. Oliver stood frozen, heart racing and fists clenching at his sides. He battled nausea, that gut punch feeling that threatened to spill out raw emotions. Images of happier times danced tantalizingly in his mind, a life that seemed million miles away, filled with laughter that now felt like a distant echo. Murmurs grew louder around him. What does he want with her? Someone whispered. Another voice retorted, is she really going to throw it all away for him? The judgment hung thick in the air as excited glances flitted between Claire, Oliver, and Evan. Oliver's cheeks burned, suffocated by a mixture of anger and disbelief. Was this a game to them? Did she want him back, or was she trapped in a gilded cage? Claire went back to serving and chatting, while Evan leaned back casually, exuding an air of arrogance tinged with confidence. The pain surged anew, twisting in Oliver's gut. He remembered the glimmer in Claire's eyes when she told him about her dreams, the magazine covers, the charity galas, the life she'd envisioned. The contrast between that life and the stark reality before him felt like a punch. She was still beautiful, but now there was a vulnerability that rendered her both fragile and fierce. Get it together, he whispered to himself, shaking off the fog. He had to approach her. Breathe. Before he could muster courage, Evan caught his eye, the corner of his mouth curling into a smug smile, as if he could sense Oliver's internal struggle. It sent a shock of rage through Oliver. No one should feel so safe, so utterly unaffected. Without thinking, he crossed the diner, each step a mix of dread and determination. The murmurs grew louder but faded into a background hum. Claire's laughter rang in his ears, surreal and haunting. Just as he reached the counter, she turned to him, and the laughter melted away. Her smile faded, replaced with shock, but then something flickered. Was it uncertainty? Fear? It sent a shiver down his spine. Oliver, she breathed, taking a step back. The air was charged with unspoken words, history hanging heavy between them. Evan's calm demeanor cracked ever so slightly, his brow furrowing at Claire's reaction. Do you two know each other? He interjected, folding his arms defensively. The tension thickened. The diner felt like a stage, every eye fixated on the confrontation brewing. Oliver took a slow breath. Questions raced through his mind. Why was she really here? Did she ever mean the words she once said? A thought flickered. What would happen if he asked about the baby? It seemed like the dagger that could pierce the rift between them, sharpened by pain and uncertainty. Claire, he forced out, voice steadier than he felt, can we talk? Silence fell, and the moment stretched. The room waited, breaths collectively held, as the weight of the truth hung in the air, glittering like a knife's edge. In that charged silence, it became clear this was just the beginning. What would happen if secrets couldn't be buried any longer? What lay beneath the surface of their newfound lives? The answers were just out of reach, and the story was far from over. The moment lingered, an electric pulse tracking through Oliver's veins. Claire's eyes, wide with a mix of fear and surprise, bored into his soul. The hushed whispers around them morphed into an ominous hum, like a swarm of angry bees. All he could do was stand there, desperately searching her expression for answers, pleading with the universe to let this moment mean something. Evan shifted on his stool, the confident facade fracturing into something sharper, more menacing. You're not seriously suggesting you need to talk right now, are you? His voice dripped with disdain, as if Oliver were a fly buzzing around his perfectly polished world. Ignoring Evan, Oliver felt the weight of Claire's gaze. All he saw was the girl he once loved, her laughter ringing like a chime in his heart, dulled now by the harsh clang of the present. Claire, he tried again, softer this time, we need to, please. She hesitated, glancing briefly at Evan, then back to Oliver. Confusion clouded her features. I can't. Not here, not now. The tremor in her voice shattered him. Was she afraid of him? Or was it Evan's shadow that loomed too large for her to step out from under? The chatter of the diner dulled to silence, all ears pointed at the unfolding scene as if they were there to catch the most scandalous of gossip. It felt wrong, too personal for the world's eyes. Oliver clenched his fists, tension building in his chest like a tempest waiting to erupt. Is there something you want to say to her? Evan leaned forward, a predator assessing its prey. He reveled in the discomfort, his grin smug, eyes glinting with malevolence. "I want to talk about the baby," Oliver declared, the words spilling out before he could rein them in. The diner gasped collectively, a sharp intake of air that stung like betrayal. The silence that followed was suffocating. Claire's pupils dilated, horror etched across her face. "No," she whispered, a ghost of a plea. "Oliver, please," she finally breathed, her hands trembling as they reached for the coffee pot, as if it could ground her. "Not here, we need to talk privately. Just you and me." Before he could respond, Evan's laughter sliced through the air, dark, deriding. "Oh, look at you, Claire. Do you honestly believe you can just run back to this guy?" He sat back, stretching with feigned indifference, but Oliver saw the tension in his shoulders. Evan was losing control. "You think he'll understand your mistakes, your intoxicating choices? You think he has the power to forgive?" Those words struck a chord, echoing loudly in the charged atmosphere. Claire's breath hitched. "Evan, stop it." Her voice wavered, and she shot him a look that should have silenced him, but it only fanned the flames further. Oliver stepped forward, heart pounding with urgency. "What are you so scared of, Claire? I'm not the enemy here. You need to tell me the truth." He felt a pit forming in his stomach, the weight of a reality he wasn't ready to face. Was she really pregnant? Did she expect him to simply walk away? "Oliver," Claire's voice faltered, but the words seemed trapped, lost in the chaos swirling around them. Suddenly, she turned from him, facing Evan. "This isn't your fight," she said, voice steadier but filled with fragility. "The hell it isn't," Evan shot back, ire spilling from him like venom. The energy shifted, a surge erupting around the diner as chairs scraped backward, and the quiet murmurs of patrons turned to sharp whispers. Action was inevitable, the tide was turning. Oliver felt the air grow thick with confrontation, everything spiraling out of control. Before he could grasp the shifting dynamic, a figure from the back of the diner stood up, ready to intervene. "Enough." Everyone turned at the voice, collective breaths held once more as a new face emerged, sending a shiver through Oliver. The path to truth was widening, but at what cost? What are they hiding? The question hung in the air, more dangerous than anything else they'd faced thus far, leading to a truth that could threaten them all. The figure stepped forward, revealing itself to be a woman with sharp features and eyes that glimmered with determination. She strode confidently across the diner, her presence cutting through the tension like a knife. Oliver didn't recognize her, but the way everyone else reacted told him she was someone important. "Leave her alone, Evan," she demanded, her voice steady. "This isn't about you." Oliver felt a strange flicker of hope as Claire glanced at the newcomer, her expression shifting from dread to something more vulnerable. "Samantha," she whispered, almost like a prayer. Evan bristled, his bravado faltering. "You have no idea what you're stepping into. This is a private matter." "Private? You mean the kind of private that invites a whole diner of witnesses?" Samantha shot back, her brow furrowed in fierce resolve. "Back off, or I'll make you regret it." Evan's threat hung in the air, thick with menace. Samantha stepped closer to Claire, blocking her from Evan's view. "You have to talk, Claire. It's time to face the truth." The words echoed powerfully, slicing through the chaos. Oliver could feel the desperate weight of that truth pressing down on them all. Claire's eyes darted between Evan and Samantha, uncertainty rippling through her. I can't," Claire stammered, her voice trembling. "What if it ruins everything?" "Everything is already ruined," Evan interjected, his tone sharp, as he regained some of his lost composure. "You don't need to listen to these people, Claire. You have a perfect life now, a perfect life built on lies," Samantha said, her voice filled with a heat that sizzled in the air. The diner fell silent again, breaths held as the weight of those words settled into the hearts of everyone present. In that silence, Oliver's heart raced, he could almost hear it beating in his ears. Oliver deserves to know, Samantha continued, unwavering. This is bigger than you and your money, Evan. It's about time Claire fought for what she really wants. Claire pressed her palms against the counter, knuckles white, and took a deep breath. I can't live like this anymore, she finally exclaimed, voice breaking with desperation. A triumphant look crossed Samantha's face, as though she had ignited a fire within Claire. Then say it, Claire. Say it out loud. You'll feel the weight of it lift. Meanwhile, Evan took a step back, realization dawning on him, the light shifting in the storm brewing in his eyes. Nervously, he cleared his throat, awareness of being cornered washing over him. Don't you dare, Evan warned, his voice low and threatening. You think this changes anything? You think I'll just let you walk away? I'm not asking for your permission, Claire said, her tone hardening, strength blossoming within her. Samantha turned toward the gathered crowd, her gaze unwavering as she addressed them. Isn't it time for everyone to hear the truth? The patrons shifted anxiously in their seats, eyes wide, hearts pounding. That stillness before a storm thickened the air, leaving no room for escape. Don't do this, Claire, Evan warned, his facade cracking, revealing the desperation beneath. You'll lose everything. But Oliver could see something shift in Claire's demeanor. This was about more than just her past with Oliver or her fear of Evan. It was about reclaiming her voice, taking back her life. With a nod, she glanced briefly at Oliver, daring to find strength in his eyes. I am pregnant, Evan. Gasps erupted around them, the diner vibrating with astonishment. But it's Oliver's. Claire continued, voice steadying, the truth finally erupting from her. Evan's expression shifted, disbelief etched onto his handsome, tightly controlled face. What? As the revelation sunk into the depths of collective shock, the ground seemed to shift under Oliver's feet. This was his moment, their moment, but what did it all mean? Now we'll see how far you're willing to go for love, Claire. The new voice rang out from the back of the room again, deeper, darker, threatening. Hearts raced and tension soared. All eyes turned toward the door as another figure appeared, ready to tip the scales into chaos. What new secret would they unveil? Who else is hiding from the truth? The figure asked, a smirk curling on their lips, leaving everyone unsettled and eager to know what would come next. The moment hung in the air, thick with tension and disbelief. The newcomer, a tall man with slick black hair and a tailored suit, stepped forward. He cocked an eyebrow at Claire, a condescending smile playing on his lips. The diner's atmosphere shifted, the energy vibrating like a tightrope ready to snap at any moment. Do I need to introduce myself? I'm Jason, he said, his voice smooth, almost oily. As whispers cascaded around the room, Claire's expression darkened. Jason, you don't have to be here, Claire replied, her voice steady despite the storm brewing within her. Why? Did you think I wouldn't notice my ex-wife making a public spectacle of herself? He quipped, turning to face the crowd, his hands spread wide in mock innocence. Evan fidgeted, clearly caught off guard. What are you doing here? I came to see what all the fuss was about. Seems I picked a good night to dine out. Jason's eyes gleamed with mischief, and he slinked closer to Claire, the tension thickening along with his presence. I missed you, Claire. You know that. I'm not here for you, Jason. Claire shot back, her composure hardening. I'm here to take control of my life. I won't play your games anymore. Control. Jason laughed, a patronizing sound that cut deeper than the sharpest knife. This isn't control. This is chaos. And chaos is my specialty. Samantha took a step forward, feeling the weight of the situation. You have no right to walk in here and taunt her. Claire is moving on. Moving on. With him. Jason gestured to Oliver, a smirk on his face. It was the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. Let us not kid ourselves. Claire knows she'd be a fool to leave behind the life I offered for what? A wannabe entrepreneur who's probably living paycheck to paycheck. Oliver's heart raced, a surge of anger pooling in his chest. How dare this man belittle Claire's choices? I may not have your money, Jason, he interjected, his voice steadying, but I'll fight for her. I'll give her the life she deserves. You're brave. I'll give you that, Jason said, tilting his head, but bravery won't protect you from the consequences of playing with fire. His words hung in the air like a dark omen. Claire's palms started to sweat as Jason continued. You think you know the truth? Oh, sweet Claire, you have no idea how complicated this all is. I'm the least of your problems. Claire's stomach twisted. What do you mean? Oh, you'll find out soon enough. His smile widened, revealing sharp teeth. But I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Conversations murmured like waves crashing against a rocky shore, filling the diner with a dark undercurrent of anticipation. Enough. You don't get to ruin this moment, Jason. Claire was trembling now, but her voice was a battle cry. Moment? Is that what you call it? A moment of public humiliation? His tone was mocking, but Oliver could see the cracks in Jason's facade. The man thrived on control, and losing his grip set off alarms in his veins. Then suddenly, the door creaked open again. This time, it was a woman, disheveled yet fierce, her presence commanding as she scanned the crowd. I heard someone was looking for the truth, she said, determination etched into her features as another layer of confusion wrapped around the gathering. Who are you? Claire asked, her voice faint. The woman stepped further into the glare of the diner lights. I'm here to help. But you need to ask yourselves just how much you're willing to confront. Just as Claire opened her mouth to respond, Oliver could feel the room holding its breath. Tension pulsed through the air as they all awaited the revelation that might change everything. Are you ready to face the truth? The newcomer asked, her gaze piercing through the fog of confusion. And with that, the stakes shot higher, the implications of every word tightening like a noose around Claire's heart. Behind the desperate yearning for truth, questions lingered, heavy with unspoken fears. What more did they have to uncover? Would the weight of the past unearth secrets too devastating to bear? The silence was deafening, leaving everyone on edge, hungry for the next revelation. The diner was thick with uncertainty, each face reflecting a different shade of disbelief. Claire's breath quickened, she could feel the weight of everyone's attention, the scrutiny making her skittish. Jason's mocking gaze locked onto her, anticipation dancing in his eyes. Truth? He finally scoffed, taking a step closer to the newcomer. And who might you be? Some savior coming to rescue the damsel in distress? The woman's stance didn't waver. No savior. Just a friend. And if things go as I suspect, you'll need all the friends you can get, Jason. Claire could sense the electricity in the air, the tension almost tangible. Each heartbeat echoed in her ears like a warning. She glanced at Oliver, who held her gaze, his eyes filled with encouragement. They were in this together, no matter what revelations awaited them. What do you know? Claire demanded, her voice stronger than she felt. The newcomer tilted her head slightly, assessing Claire before speaking. I know that there are layers to your relationship with Jason that you don't even realize exist, secrets that, once revealed, may turn your world upside down. Jason's smirk faltered as shadows crossed his features, the confidence that usually enveloped him crackling like wires about to snap. Secrets? He echoed, the word rolling off his tongue like a serpent, dangerous and untrustworthy. What secrets could possibly be hidden from Claire? I've laid everything out already. Or have you forgotten the past, Claire? Perhaps it's you who has misplaced the truth, the woman shot back. Your truth doesn't scare me, lady, Jason sneered, but there was a tremor in his voice. I think you misunderstand, she said slowly, locking eyes with him. For you see, Jason, the truth doesn't just hide in the shadows behind Claire. It lurks in the corners of your own life, your own choices. Oliver felt the tension swell like an impending storm. "What are you saying?" he asked, the urgency in his voice spilling over into the space around them. The woman stepped closer to Claire, her focus unwavering. "This isn't just about your past with him, Claire. It's about the future, too. You're not the one who needs to confront what was hidden, it's Jason who has a reckoning to face." Claire's heart raced. "What do you mean?" Before she could fully process the implications, a sudden sound echoed from the back of the diner, the crash of cutlery scattering across the floor, like a bolt of lightning piercing the fragile silence. Heads turned, eyes squinted in surprise. From behind a booth, a young girl burst into tears. The weight of her sobs cut through the confusion. A plate still steamed with half-eaten fries, forgotten in the chaos. Jason's facade crumbled, uncertainty tightening around him. "What did you do?" He spat at the woman, anger flaring as panic danced across his face. "I didn't do anything," she replied quickly. "But I think it's time you faced the music." Claire's stomach knotted. "What music?" The tension warped into something sharper, pricked with fear. The doorway creaked again, drawing everyone's attention. A tall figure stepped in, silhouetted against the light, casting uncertainty once more over the diner's occupants. "I think it's time we all sat down for a talk," he said, his voice low and throaty, unsettling. "Who is this guy?" Jason growled, shifting uncomfortably, the facade of confidence once again slipping through his fingers. Oliver didn't miss the shift in Jason. There was something in his eyes, fear, maybe. The kind that comes when someone knows they're about to be exposed. With the room's attention now divided between Jason and the new figure, Claire felt her heart race. The pieces of the puzzle were still scattered, but one thing was certain, nothing would remain hidden for long. Truth hid in the shadows, and she was ready to pull back the curtain. "What's about to unfold is bigger than what you all realize," the newcomer intoned, and chills danced down Claire's spine. What had they stumbled into? What truths lay in wait behind the words yet to be spoken? The air crackled with uncertainty, and Claire's pulse quickened. The night was only just beginning. The atmosphere in the diner thickened, as if the very air were weaving itself into a heavy tapestry of anticipation. Claire felt as if every breath was laden with a sense of dread. All eyes were on the new figure, tall and imposing, with an aura that suggested he carried secrets, each one sharper than a dagger. Jason shifted his weight nervously, casting back that uneasy look. "What do you think you're doing here?" He was trying to regain control, but it was slipping like sand through his fingers. The newcomer smirked, but there was no warmth in it. "Let's just say I have a vested interest in the truths that come spilling out tonight." Claire swallowed hard, her throat dry. "What truths?" It felt like stepping into a dark room, unsure of what lurked behind the unknown. Jason snapped back, "You're not scaring me." But there was a crack forming in his bravado, and Claire could sense it. "Enough with the games," the woman interjected, stepping one pace forward. "Stop hiding behind your bravado, Jason. We all know that the truth will out, no matter how many walls you build around it." Oliver leaned closer to Claire, his eyes wide. "What is she even talking about?" he whispered urgently. "Do you think she knows something about Jason?" Before Claire could respond, the newcomer pulled out a small black device from her pocket, a voice recorder. The sharp hiss of static cut through the air. "It's time the world heard some truths, starting with yours." Jason's face blanched as he took a step back, hands fidgeting in a nervous dance. "You're bluffing," he spat, though the quiver in his voice betrayed him. But she pushed a button, and the sound of Jason's voice echoed through the diner, live and raw. "I can erase all of this if you just let me. I didn't kill him, I swear. But you need to understand what happened. It wasn't my fault." Gasps erupted from every booth. A woman near the back dropped her cup, coffee spilling like an ink stain on the floor. Claire's heart raced. What had Jason just said? The weight of it pressed down on her chest, constricting her breath. "I'll be damned," a man murmured from the bar, bewilderment etched across his face. You've got to be kidding me. Claire turned to Jason, searching his eyes for answers, for any sign that this was just some sick joke. But deep down, she felt the chill creeping up her spine, the realization that every word spoken now might lead to a reckoning that no one was prepared for. Maybe now you'll understand, the newcomer said, her tone dripping with satisfaction. This isn't just about Claire, this is about freedom, about truth, and breaking these chains you've wrapped around yourself. Jason opened his mouth, but the words caught in his throat. The mask of arrogance had slipped, underneath, it was clear he was terrified. Who did you kill, Jason? Claire asked, her voice barely a whisper yet filled with a fierce determination. What have you done? The diner fell silent, all eyes hanging in the balance. The truth lay there, stark and raw, poised to unleash chaos. Suddenly, the front door burst open again, this time with a rush of wind that sent napkins fluttering like fallen leaves. An unfamiliar face appeared, fear written all over it. You need to get out. They're coming. The tension exploded like a dam breaking, cascading dread washing over the patrons. Jason turned pale, the remnants of his confidence shattered. What do you mean they're coming? He stammered, the night was spiraling into something darker, something they couldn't control. What awaited them outside? Would secrets and danger collide in a way that would shatter everything they thought they knew? Claire felt the ground shift beneath her. The night was just beginning, and it was going to take them all down a path they never anticipated. Chaos rippled across the diner, a living entity fueled by raw panic. Claire felt her heart pounding in her chest, each beat fueled by apprehension. What did the stranger mean by they? An invisible weight pressed down on her shoulders, suffocating the air. Jason turned, eyes darting between the newcomer and Claire, panic etched on his face. What's happening? He demanded, feigning boldness, but it rang hollow. The woman with the voice recorder shot him a sharp look. It's not just about you anymore. She stepped closer, her tone transforming from accusatory to chillingly calm. They're here to settle old scores. Silence draped over the diner like a heavy fog, broken only by the distant sound of thunder rumbling ominously in the background. Claire grasped Oliver's arm tightly, her nails digging in as she strained to hear. Who are they? She whispered, her voice trembling. They'll show up when they're ready, the stranger said, her smirk returning. But trust me, when the truth comes crashing down, it won't be pretty. You've all played your parts. On cue, more shadows entered the diner. Two men, rugged and cloaked in black, strode toward the entrance, their expressions cold and calculating. Claire felt a rush of warmth leave her body as fear flooded in. Oh God, she muttered under her breath. The barista dropped a glass, shattering it on the tile, the sound shards scattering a silence punctuated by dread. Everyone stay calm. Jason's shout inadvertently sliced the room, but the tremor in his voice revealed his own panic. This isn't their business. Isn't it? The woman rebuffed, her eyes narrowing. Isn't it, Jason? Claire's mind raced. What did he do? The truth loomed over them, mocking her courage. She took a step forward, compelled by an instinct she couldn't quite understand. Whatever is about to happen, we can stop it. The truth can set us free. A derisive chuckle escaped the lips of one of the burly men as he approached Jason. Oh, don't be naive. You can't run away from your past. His hand twitched near his waist, and Clara noticed a glimmer of metal. Stop! Claire shouted, fear clawing at her throat. She felt a sudden surge of protectiveness for Jason, despite everything. What do you want from him? The man turned to her, his expression unsettlingly calm. It's simple. We want to know what really happened. We want justice. Jason paled, the shock flooding his features as his shaky breathing echoed around them. I can explain. Just please give me a chance. It wasn't supposed to end like this. The woman's voice softened for a brief moment. You had your chance, Jason. You chose to bury it instead. A storm rolled through, above them, nature's fury almost synchronized with the dark tension inside the diner. Rain began to fall, heavy drops that slapped against the windows, further isolating them from the world outside. A dread-filled moment passed, and Claire felt the air grow thicker. The tension in the room morphed into something palpable, something that could choke a person. She wanted to scream. Suddenly, one of the men raised his hand, commanding attention. Enough. We've waited long enough. He glanced at the woman, their eyes locking in a silent understanding. What's about to happen will change everything, the woman said evenly, her confidence unwavering. And there's no escaping this truth. Claire's heart tore in two at the thought of what that truth might be. She turned to Jason, desperately searching for reassurance, but saw only fear. And then, just as quickly as it started, the lights flickered, a sign of an impending storm igniting outside. What if this was the moment where all was to be unraveled? Are you ready for the truth? The woman taunted, her gaze challenging. The stage had been set. The storm outside mirrored the tempest brewing within. What would happen when the weight of all hidden secrets broke free? Claire braced herself for the collision of past and present, knowing it could change everything. What was waiting to crash through the walls they had built? The air crackled with tension, a living thing pressing down on everyone inside the diner. The storm outside mirrored the storm within, a chaotic swirl of emotions, uncertainty, and dread. Claire locked eyes with Jason, who looked more lost than ever. You need to explain, she urged, her voice steadier than she felt. What is going on? His gaze dropped, the weight of his past hanging heavy between them. It was years ago. It's not something I wanted. It just happened. Speak up, Jason. One of the men barked, stepping closer, his imposing presence swallowing the space between them. Jason's breath quickened, and Claire could see the panic gripping him. I'd never hurt anyone. You have to believe me. He pleaded desperately, as if the truth could somehow save him now. Then tell us the truth. The woman's voice sliced through the din. You buried it, Jason. You thought you could hide it forever. But we both know that's not how it works. A flash of lightning illuminated the diner, casting stark shadows on the faces of those present. Claire's heart raced as the realization dawned on her. This was just about the past. It was a reckoning, and Jason was at the center of it. The second man took a step forward, revealing more of the glimmering metal that Claire now realized was a knife. You think you can explain your way out of this? He said, his voice low and dangerous. This isn't something that's going away quietly. Not this time. Panic gripped her again, threatening to overwhelm her. Please, don't do this. Let us talk about it. We can work it out, Claire called out, her voice trembling. The woman laughed, sharp and cold. You think talking will save him? She turned to Claire, eyes glinting. And what about you? Are you part of this too? Did you know what he did? Claire's mind raced. How could she possibly defend the man she thought she knew? No, I had no idea. She shot back, anger mixing with fear. You're making this worse. We're making it right, the woman stated, as if the finality of her words pressed down like the heavy rain against the windows. Jason looked like a ghost, his face dawned in gray. I never meant for anyone to get hurt, he stammered. The truth behind his voice lingered, each word like a stone thrown into a still pond, causing ripples of apprehension and pain. Tell us what really happened. Now, the first man commanded, closing the gap, the knife glinting threateningly under the diner's flickering lights. Claire felt trapped in a maelstrom of confusion, realization crashing over her like the relentless rain outside. Suddenly, she felt a rush of resolve. If Jason wouldn't explain it, then maybe she had to. Wait! Claire shouted, startling everyone. I'll ask him. I promise, just give us a chance. All of us, she was pleading now, working to maintain the thin thread of hope that tethered them to sanity. The storm raged outside, and for a moment, everything seemed suspended in the chaos. Everyone was watching, waiting to see if this was the moment where the truth would break free, or just another step into darkness. What if he really didn't he know? Claire's voice trembled. What if there's a reason for it all? A reason we don't see? Turning slowly, Claire gripped Jason's arm, her heart pounding. Tell me, she whispered, more to herself than him. You have to tell me everything. In the deafening silence, a haunting truth hung in the air, and with it came a new layer of uncertainty. What would Jason reveal? Could this fragile moment lead to clarity, or were they only digging deeper into the darkness? And then the lights flickered again, setting the stage for revelations. Would the truth finally set them free, or would it come crashing down upon them like the storm sweeping the world outside? The diner erupted, electric with tension. The air felt alive, full of unspoken words, ripe for the breaking. Claire's heart raced as she held Jason's arm, feeling his trembling beneath her grip. Tell me everything, she urged, but the plea hung in the air, filled with fear and uncertainty. Jason looked around at their audience, silent witnesses, eyes wide and expectant. I didn't mean for it to happen, he finally spoke, the words falling like weights. There was a fight. It all spiraled out of control. I never thought, he faltered, his bravado deflating under the weight of heavy gazes. The tension felt like a suffocating blanket, and Claire sensed the eyes of everyone on her watching, judging. What did you do, Jason? She pressed, still gripping him tightly, but the tremor had shifted now. It was hers. That he swallowed hard, his jaw tightening. There was an accident. I didn't kill him, Claire. I swear. It was a crash. I was at the wrong place, at the wrong time. His voice broke, and for a moment, vulnerability flickered across his features. He was my friend. A murmur dashed through the room, confusion curling around every corner. The man with the knife stepped forward, menace radiating from him like the storm outside. Your friend? And you abandoned him after? The room felt heavier. Claire's stomach turned. Who was your friend, Jason? She breathed, bracing herself. I can't tell you that, he whispered, eyes darting between the men. I can't. The hesitation in his breath flickered like a faulty bulb. Too late for that, isn't it? The woman with the voice recorder stepped closer. Your past is coming back to collect its debts. The truth hung like a guillotine, ready to drop. Moments stretched, each second like a strand pulled tighter, nearly breaking. Claire turned to Oliver, who was surprisingly steady next to her. Their eyes connected in silent understanding, a tether amid chaos. She needed him now more than ever. Help us, Jason, she insisted quietly. Tell us the truth so we can stop this. Her heart pounded as she felt the weight of impossibility in the air. Beneath the surface of Jason's denial, a darkness shifted. He began, teeth clenched. They'll come for me. I can't. The defeated tone sank into Claire's chest like a stone. You don't understand the consequences. Louder than before, the man with the knife pressed him. What's lurking doesn't change the past. Face it now, or it'll eat you alive. The word struck home, and Claire felt the tremor of fear rippling through her. Jason, if you care about anything, anyone, what's keeping you silent? She stood taller, heart racing. Tell us, now. His expression twisted, torn between fear and the weight of guilt. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, the door slammed open with a gust of wind, causing everything around them to shudder. Are you all ready for this yet? A voice called out, not a stranger but a reminder. Claire recognized the voice, a figure from her past. The atmosphere thickened, drowning out the rain that lashed against the windows. Daniel, she whispered, heart dropping into her stomach. Daniel strode into the diner, his presence magnetic and imposing, the weight of his knowledge felt instantaneous. You thought you could hide forever, Jason? He turned to Claire, eyes dark with gravity. You deserve to know what you're caught up in. He locked eyes with Jason, who looked suddenly haunted. You need to make a choice, Daniel continued, before it's too late. Jason's facade cracked. I didn't want this. Please, his voice wavered, the pain layered with regret transforming his features. What was your role in all this? Daniel asked heavily. Who was that night really about? And then, in a flash, the story burst free from Jason's lips like a floodgate releasing years of pent-up fear. It was about the money, all right. A shipment gone wrong. They said I wouldn't have to be involved, but I knew more than they wanted. And when I got there, his eyes reflected guilt, misery etched across his face. I can change all of this. Just let me. The air around them shifted again, a collective gasp swirling through the diner as the depth of betrayal hit home. Claire's chest tightened. This isn't just about you, Jason. It never was. She could see the realization dawn on him, the fragility of his story unraveling before her, just like the storm brewing outside. Daniel stepped closer. Now's the time to break the chain. Whatever evil lurked, it needs an ending. You can't just run. It'll find you. Who else is involved? Claire asked, voice steady and urgency burning in her chest. We can't escape this if we don't face it head-on. Jason's face fell, his form trembling. I don't know, he stumbled through words as electricity danced in the air. But they're coming for what they think is theirs. It was never just about the accident. They used that against me. Claire felt the ground beneath her tremble. The past was rising, and they were standing at the cusp of denial and confrontation. We need to make a stand, she urged, staring into Jason's eyes. Enough running. Just tell us everything. Samantha, still lingering close, nodded. Together. We can face whatever emerges. The shadows shifted, loomed larger, as they prepared to face the darkness that had woven through their lives. The rain pounded against the windows like a relentless march, intertwining with the thunderstorm brewing within them. I'm ready, Jason finally murmured, defeated yet ignited, eyes wet with unshed pain and determination. The storm outside raged, and at that moment, they all recognized, to conquer fear, the light of truth must shine. The walls of silence crumbled, and together, they readied themselves for the reckoning that awaited. As they stood, hearts pounding, the weight of decisions hung heavy in the air, but the power to change their destinies sparked to life. No more escaping. No more hiding. This was where they would face everything together, and just like that, the storm outside peaked, darkness clashing with the flickers of light, echoing their uncertain yet resolute hearts. The future was in their hands. The truth would not be denied, and in that radical moment of decision, Claire braced herself, knowing no matter what happened next, she wasn't alone. The time had come. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next explosive revelations and exclusive stories that will shake up everything you thought you knew. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these intense narratives. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about the epic showdown. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to witness this transformative conclusion. True fans understand the importance of standing with the channel. Let us do this together.